Welcome, welcome one more time, man. I appreciate you taking the time to actually speak to all of us,
Thank
mental
you.
us, and so many things that are going on in the world, especially the holidays are around. Christmas is around the corner. Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you actually celebrate this holidays, we want you to make sure that you have a great one. But how you doing, Omar? How's everything today?
I'm doing unbelievable and unbelievable. Covers it either way. But no, I'm doing great. Really excited about this time of the year, my favorite time of the year. And happy holidays to everyone. Excited that everybody's going to be getting together and having get togethers. And, you know, I want everyone to take some time, though, during these holidays to reflect on what you want to do for 2023. And I want you to think about what do you really want, because that's the first key to success is what do you want, and then set your goals up for 2023. Start out, I always call it year in backward goals. So I start with December 31st, 2023, and then work back. So let's say your goal is to make $200,000. So you set that goal from December 31st, 2023, that you want to make 200 grand. Now you find out what it takes to make that 200 grand and you work the numbers backwards. You go 9 months, 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, weeks, days, hours, and then reverse it back and forth till you get your numbers right. Very important that you do that because uh, they've done research that most people do better if you set 90-day goals. And then
Mm,
when you hit that 90-day goal, move on to the next one. So I
wow.
want you to set the year goal and work back to the 90 days, to the months, to the weeks, to the days, to the hours. It's all about time blocking and
Yeah,
activity to achieve your goals. Doesn't matter what your business is, it's all about the
yeah.
number, right? So, anyway, with that in mind, just remember, the key is to go back to the fundamentals. All the great ones go back to the fundamentals
Yeah.
and master the tools like sales books like mine, investigative selling, success. So you should be focusing on communication skills, the power to influence and persuade. You should be focusing on your management, time management, and territorial management. And what I
Yeah.
always suggest is that you wake up with a plan. I got a little saying, Carlos. Anyone that wakes up without a plan is unemployed,
I
right?
love it. I love it.
So before you end your workday, write down at least the 10 most important things you must do the next day.
Yeah.
Prioritize. When you wake up, you got a plan. And then make sure that you take your top three priorities every day and make sure you get those done. Top three.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want you to do is take a 3x5 card because nobody has business cards anymore. But if you do have a
Yeah.
business card, put your top three goals in the back of your business card. Look at them in the morning, look at them at lunch, look at them at night, and visualize what you want because it's called the law of attraction, of course. Bob Proctor and the
Wow.
strangest secret and the secret. And, you attract what you think about most. Earl Nightingale, he says, you become what you think about most. So if you think about those three goals every day, it's going to attract unseen forces that's going to help you become more successful.
Wow. I mean that is powerful right there. And you know what? And we're talking about actually, and what I call is backwards planning. That's something that I learned from the military. Like when
Right.
we had a plan, we had a mission. We always backward planning. The mission was to get to this point at this time. So we backward plan everything that needed to happen in order for us to be able to get there on time and complete the mission. Now I mean you got to be mindful that things are not always going to happen the way that you plan them. This is why you
Exactly.
need to have contingencies. But at least if you plan, if you're like you said, if you wake up without a plan, you're unemployed. Guess
Right.
what? You're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't have something solid, something that you actually thought about and that you actually visualize, like law of attraction. You
Yeah.
need to be able to know where you're going in order for you to get there.
Well, most people don't even think about that. If you think about it, if you and I live in Boca Raton, Florida, we decided we're going to California, the first thing you would do in the old days is take out a map.
MapQuest.
Now, now you
Remember?
don't need it, but you take out a map and you'd
Yeah.
say, okay, how many days do we want to take to get to California? and
Yeah.
you'd say 3 or 4, and then you'd break down where you want to stop. Like say, first day you want to stop in New Orleans, that's about 14 hours. Next day
Yeah.
you're going to stop in Texas. Third day you're going to stop in Arizona or New Mexico, and then you're in California 4 days. Well, then you look
Yeah.
at where you want to stay, or what you want to do if while you're there, those kind of things. So if you don't have a map of what you want, a blueprint for 2023, you're
Yeah.
making a big mistake. You're making a
Yeah.
big mistake. Yeah.
I mean, and I seen that in and Omar, I started 13 different companies. I failed at them 12 times.
Wow.
The only one that I really been successful at is the one that I put a plan together. The one that not only I put a plan together, but got others to teach me how to get there. And that's something that we want to get to as well. Mentorship. Not only put a plan together, but be deliberate on how you're going to get there and who can help you.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Omar?
Well, I think there's a whole that's a big thing because that's how I got here. Mentoring. I was
Hmm.
mentored by, Tom Hopkins, Zig Ziglar, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, Tom Murphy, just to name a few. And you know, there was other mentors, of course, business mentors. It's really important that you realize that you need mentors to get you there faster. And the reason is because a great mentor, and make sure you really check out your mentors before you sign up and throw money at them. I have a mentoring program that's very effective, that works. And the people
Hmm.
that work with me, they get results. And by the way, results is the name of the game, right?
Yes, yes.
And what happens is you got to find someone. Imagine a captain that's got a ship.
Mm.
And when the ship leaves the harbor, that captain has to have a plan of when it's going to leave, how it's going to go through the journey successfully, and how it's going to get to its destination successfully. That's what a great mentor does. It maps out your course. He maps
Yeah,
out, or she maps out your course and will guide you through the process and get you there not only safe, but
yeah,
faster, quicker, more affordable, and more effective.
yeah,
And that's what people don't get. Unfortunately, I mean, I love that a lot of people are doing speaking, coaching, and mentoring, but most of them have just gone through a certification course
yeah,
of one of my friends, which they're amazing. However, that's not enough. You really need to have the life experiences to be a mentor of success.
yeah,
You have to have those real world life experiences,
yeah.
like myself. You know,
And once you actually get to finding that mentor, because you should definitely look for one, and sometimes it's going to be trial and error. Sometimes we start, and that happened to me. I found the mentors that actually would got me here later on in my career and in life. But something that you got to be deliberate at is being responsible. A lot of people um, get the mentorship, get the plan, but they're not responsible and deliberate on applying the plan that has been put together for them. And this is
yeah,
something that people like, even like coming back for, like you talking about a captain in the military too. You can only delegate authority, but you can never delegate responsibility.
right.
You are responsible for what goes right or wrong and within your business, within your life. You can delegate what could happen between that business, between that life, and everything that you do. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you know what's going on and learn about it, because you are responsible for everything that's going right and wrong.
It's so right. And
Yeah.
I think that you not only do you have to become coachable, like my mentor Tom Murphy said. I said,
Yeah.
why did I become so successful out of all the people that I mean he and Tom Hopkins had trained millions and millions and millions of people throughout
Yeah.
these years, from real estate agents to you name it. They went into from real estate to general sales, and they really trained like millions and millions of people. And
Yeah.
and I said, why did I ended up being the only authorized speaker in the world for Tom Hopkins for 10 years. Well, why? Because he said, and I quote, you were the most coachable person we ever met. You're the most
Yeah.
coachable guy we ever met. So the way I looked at it is I had nowhere to go but up. I was living in a 200 square foot apartment, eating tuna out of cans. I hate tuna out of
Yeah.
cans. Parking my car 2 blocks away because collectors were looking for it. I had
Yeah.
college loans, and I didn't finish college. Think of
Yeah.
that way. You know,
Yeah.
I was pissed. I was bummed. And I'm a personal trainer and seeing all these people in Beverly Hills rich. And I'm like, I gotta figure this out because I'm not gonna be this guy. I got a lot
Yeah.
of potential. And
Yeah.
that's why I think you gotta have a little belief in yourself too. Got to
Yeah.
have a little bit of belief, little that ingredient of self belief. Because if you
That's
don't,
true.
you're not going to want to go take the shots that you need, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, and you said something very, very, very essential there. I mean, we all have blind spots. I
Right,
mean, imagine why you think like even in trucks, you always have the A drivers, right? That tell you the specific blind spots that you have in order for you not to crash. And this is what happened with a lot of leaders, so-called leaders, people that get to a position in a company, people that get to positioning within their job. They become positional leaders. They believe that because they are there, they are right. They
right,
don't have to look anywhere else. They don't have to learn anything else. Just know that once you get there, the job just started. That
right,
new position requires you for you to even spend your lead even more, learn
right.
more about yourself and learn more about leading others. And something that a lot of leaders or people that are in charge, I don't want to call them leaders, people that are in charge they are not coachable. They don't want to know because sometimes we learn one of the biggest things in life from the people that we leave. They sometimes bring things to the table that we didn't see how it could happen and how it could help us out, how it could help the organization overall. So that's something that as a leader, and if you want to be a leader today and you actually looking to lead a team, lead yourself, lead your family, you need to be coachable. You need to be able to see your blind spots. Something that I didn't. I remember them when I first started in one of the positions that I am within the military. Is like I brought all my platoon leaders, everybody that was working with me, and I brought them in. I said, look, I want to make sure that you guys know that I'm in charge. At the end of the day, I'll have the last word on what happens, but I welcome your opinion. And I want you to be honest enough with me that if you see something that I'm doing wrong, please, tactfully, because I know the thing that you need to do with the people that you lead. Because they respect that. When you lead someone, you tell them, look, this is the way you are coming out. I personally respect that. And, it makes me see a different light on how I was leading people because I wanted to be more effective. So at the end of the day, leading others is just influence. How do you influence others to do something that you are trying to make him do? But I
Well,
also,
and another important point is that you
yeah,
brought up is people want to feel valued. So
sure.
when you tell someone, I want to hear your input, your
Hmm.
opinions,
Yeah,
that they feel valued. Number one, number two,
yeah,
people want to be a part of something that's bigger than they are. That's why everybody joins a team, right? They
yes,
want to be part of something. You can't play football by yourself in the NFL, right?
yeah, true,
You
true.
can't play soccer by yourself. You got to
Hmm.
need a team. So what you need to do is, have strong links around you.
Yeah,
That can only come from training. So you got to be coachable.
yeah. No, no, and you're right. So, and another thing, a friend of yours, Dr. John Maxwell,
Yeah,
talks about. It says that nobody cares what you know until they know that you care.
right.
That right
Yeah,
there is essential. So, yeah, man. I mean, and this is also because today we're about to culminate a year. We're about to go into 2023. Yeah, we need to have plans. We need to have everything. Like we also see a recession happening
right.
very soon. Things are not going to be the way that we have it right now. What do you advise everybody to do today? Like, look, I only have a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks left for the year. Christmas is here. New Year's Eve is here. What am I going to do? How can I prepare myself today if I want to start taking advantage and prepare myself, gearing up for whatever's going to happen for me to take advantage? And what I would do if I was anybody else is, hey, look, take advantage of the situation of a recession because that's when you can create wealth. That's
Yeah, a
when
lot
you
of
can,
people become wealthy. A lot of
yeah.
people become wealthy in recessions. And
Hmm.
there's going to be a lot of opportunities in real estate, buying businesses. There's going to be, so you need to set your goals. Maybe you want to do a side hustle besides your
Yeah,
job or besides your business that you have. You might have
yeah,
a side hustle, like for instance, finding, fixing, and flipping real estate. The real estate market's going to change next year, right?
Yep.
Or doing wholesale, or if you want to just do some other company, something else. And it's important that you find a side hustle. Also, streamline everything. Get rid of anything that you're spending money on that you don't need. It's pretty
Hmm.
funny because I have money, and my kids go, Dad, why are you? I'm like, well, here's what, and I show them like a credit card uh, bill, and I print it up just to show them that, if like you're out of school now, so you probably don't need those courses that you were
Yeah.
taking then. And most people forget about that stuff, and they keep paying and paying,
Yeah.
paying, including myself. By the way, I catch stuff that's been paid for 6 months that nobody's using it. So
Yeah.
make sure you take a look at your your bills and make sure you're not wasting money. Number
Yeah.
one. Number two, make sure you're getting rid of anything that you're not using.
Correct. Yeah.
Streamline,
Streamline.
streamline.
Yeah. You know what? And that's funny enough because yesterday I was actually, so it's something that I do, a practice that I have on a weekly basis. I go through my bills, and one of the things that we teach at Stradivari Capital is how to actually obtain credit, how to get credit cards, and so on. So I have a slew of credit cards in which it is a task by itself for you to keep on the weekly basis. So some of the things that I go through, and something that I found because of what you're saying, is that sometimes you just take responsibility or responsible enough for you to understand what you're actually getting yourself into. So for my kids, I have Hulu and Disney Plus. Separate, they're about $15, but together they're $9.99. And it's just simple, but it's just something that you need to learn and how to streamline things. Yeah, there's a lot of it's a deal that is out there. But also, if you're not using something, because I also found other services that I have, and I'm like, why do I have this?
Right.
I was using it about 3 months ago, but I've been paying for them for those months, and I didn't notice. But it's good for you to actually constantly audit yourself. Make
Yeah.
sure that you go back to your bills. Make sure that you go back to what you're using. Check your home, and that's being responsible. That's being a leader because you
Yeah.
teaching, and that's something that we're trying to preach over here. Not only you need to learn this, but this is something that is going to stay with your kids, and that is the best legacy that you can leave behind. Teaching your kids on how to handle money, how to create money, and how to keep money, because that's
Yeah.
one thing. A lot of people today make money, but they cannot keep it.
Hey, every time you're in a room,
Hmm.
95% of the room is trading time for money.
True.
Of the 100%, if you're in a room of 100 people,
Yeah.
95% of those people are trading time for money. And you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. It just takes you understanding money
Yeah.
and keeping a ledger. I got my kids now keeping a ledger of what they spend because it was out of control. So I have them keeping a ledger, and they still don't make mistakes. But if you keep a ledger, you can see what you're spending. The key
Yeah.
is if you start making your own money, then you realize what it costs and what it takes to make money, because
Yeah.
most people don't know. So, but that's why we have to have literacy about money.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes the best lessons is the mistakes that you make. So in this case, your kids are being conscious enough to track what they're doing. But these are lessons that they will remember tomorrow.
Right.
This is not something that I heard read in a book, or I heard in a video, or somebody told me, or my mom said it to me, because sometimes as kids, we don't want to listen to our parents. And sometimes our parents they know what they're saying. So
Well, and you lead by example. So
yeah,
it's on you and your partner to
correct.
teach the kids, how to do it. And if you do it in front of them, they will
Yeah,
learn the habits that you have, right? And
yeah,
that's why, a lot of us, including myself
mhm,
and my parents were not good with money. And
yeah,
I met Mr. Murphy, who is amazing with money. And so he taught me how to manage my money. I'll never forget my
yeah.
first year in sales. I became the top salesperson in the company I worked at, which Mr. Murphy owned 90% of.
Nice.
And I made over six figures as a 21 years old. and he says to me, "Hey, you made six figures. Congratulations, number one salesperson. Uh, how much money did you put away?" I said, "What?" He goes, "How much money did you put away? Just give me zeros." And I go, "That's easy, zero." He
Zero.
goes, "Who sold you that plan?" That's what he said. I said, "Well, I go out. My friends, they don't have any money. I pay for them, and I." And he goes, "Yeah. Well, what happens when you're broke? They're not going to be around." So he
True.
said, "What you want to do is, spend money, have fun, and once in a while buy dinner for your friends or drinks, but you can't be the only source because then they count on it. And when you stop, now you go from hero to zero, right?" So he
Uh,
taught me, he said, from now on, and he handed me that book I told you about, The Richest
yeah,
Man in Babylon.
Babylon.
And I picked that little book up and I read that. Then he gave me a book by Benjamin Franklin that's about this big,
Mm,
and it's called Wealth. And that's it, just wealth. And
wealth.
it was a little book, and I read that, and then I started, of course, reading other books, and
Yeah.
because I got interested in it. But successful men and women, like if you look at Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, those
Hmm.
guys are frugal. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
known fact that Warren Buffett drives. I don't quote me on certain kind of car, and
Yeah.
it's not a Rolls Royce or a Bentley.
No.
It's like an American car. It's a great
Yeah.
car. We build great cars,
And
and
he lives in the same home that he lived for years.
yeah, and he lives in the same home,
Yeah.
and he's a very frugal man. So
Yeah.
he does the same thing every day. But so is Bill Gates. Not as much. Bill Gates got a
Yeah.
beautiful home. I've seen it in Seattle. I drove by it.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
but everybody's different. I'm not saying to be cheap. I'm
Yeah.
saying to be manage your money properly. And then what I did when I first made my first million, I said. I said, I'm going to buy myself a nice house. That's what I wanted. So I bought a nice house. When I made my second million, I said I would collect cars. So that was my motivation to go to my second.
Nice.
Then when I went my third million, I said, once you have a few $1 million,
Yeah.
you only need to make about a $500,000 a year, and you're rich. You know that,
That's
right?
true. That's
So
true. That's true.
people
Yeah.
think you can still, it's great if you make seven figures every year, but if you don't, if you got a few $1 million, even Grant Cardone talks about it. If you got
Yeah.
$5 million in the bank, then you're okay. But if you don't, you're not okay because a
You're not
million
okay.
dollars is not what it used to be,
Yeah, it's not.
right?
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I love to have this talks, and I know people when people actually tune in to what we say, they always, you're always gonna find the two streams. People say, okay, but is money is the root of all evil. Others say, no, not having money is the root of all evil. We got
Right.
to think about this. Like, money is not gonna make you any better, any good looking. Well, yeah, money makes you good looking. Let's put it that way. But no, but you know what? It kind of accentuate who you are. You are a good person. You could do wonders if you have
Right.
money. You want to help the poor. You want to help people. You want to help the world. You want to help your community. You want to help your church. Whoever you want. If you
Yeah.
have
Well, you
money,
always, the key is
yeah,
what's your intent. That's what we were talking about at the beginning.
correct.
Your intent. If your intent is to donate to your religion, great. If your intent is to donate to the community, great.
Yeah,
Your intent is to put your kids through the best schools, private, like I did, the private schools,
amazing. Yeah.
great. Because
Hmm.
that's what's going to make a difference is those kind of things. Uh, like today, I was with a group that works with Tony Robbins to feed millions of people every year, and I was
Nice.
with that group, and I'm speaking for them in the end of January. So, and now, by the way, the part of the money that's being made, and I'm selling my stuff, is going to that foundation to feed
Amazing.
people, to his foundation that he feeds people
That's
on Thanksgiving and things like that.
that's
Another,
awesome.
another,
That's awesome.
yeah. So you got
No,
to
that's
like find something that motivates you and like is your thing. I have one student. He owns an IT company, and his motivation is Toys for Tots, and he raises a lot of money every year for the
nice.
holidays to give kids bikes and toys and things that they wouldn't get.
That's
Computers.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? And sometimes doing those little things makes you feel so good, fulfill you, satisfy you better than having the money. But if you have the money, then you could do that. And you could have these experiences and
Yeah,
help others. Because I'm that to me is fulfilling, and it's better than anything else in life. Now, if we got someone or anyone listening today, and they say, "Look, man, I want to get myself prepared. I want to go into an industry that is really gonna pay off, that I could definitely make something of myself because I know that my industry or the job that I have or the business that I have is not working for me." What would you advise someone to do today? Like, what would be the first step to start looking into, or what industries are there they could go into in order for them to prepare themselves, but also be placed in, in the money earning
yeah.
place of recession?
Let's take a step back.
Hmm.
I would like everyone to think about what you love to do.
Yeah,
Because if you love what you do, you're going to be successful. Now,
yeah,
let me continue. I'm going to tell you guys what I tell my children. First, find something you love to do.
yeah.
Love, because I'm on the board of governors. I was for many years, 10 years, with Wayne
Hmm.
Huizinga, who started Blockbuster and the waste management and net
Wow.
automation. And he put me on his board of directors at Nova Southeastern University and his school, Wayne Huizinga School of Entrepreneurs at Nova. And I would sit with him for breakfast because we had breakfast every month, and he would tell me, he says, yeah, the same thing. He said, what do you think, Omar? What should you do? He says, well, I think you need to do something you love. He says, boy, you're so right, because you know what? If you do something you love, it doesn't feel like work,
Yeah,
right? And then next thing make sure it supports your lifestyle. So, for instance, I told my kids, I said, "You guys have lived a billionaire's lifestyle because I know how to negotiate stuff." You know,
yeah.
I would get I would get houses in Laguna Beach and rent them out. Everybody else is paying 60 to 100 grand. I was paying 25 for a month,
Nice,
right? And I
nice.
got a free week thrown in, so it was five
Wow,
weeks.
that's
And
awesome.
then but the bottom line is, I tell my kids, a teacher changed my life. Mrs. Martis, my fourth grade teacher. I was not a confident kid. I hardly spoke English. And she heard me sing. She goes, "Oh my God, who's this kid? Who's this kid singing?" I was in fourth grade. I'll never forget it. And she goes, "Who is it? Where's that voice coming from?" And she points me out. She goes, "Come here, sing what we're singing with the chorus." And I was singing. She goes, "Oh my God!" And she says, "You're like a little Stevie Wonder." That's what she
Yeah,
said. That was a big compliment. Like, wow, I love
yeah,
Stevie Wonder. So she says, "You got a beautiful voice," and she built my confidence up. Then started
that's
having me
awesome.
sing at church every 4 days a week, and then on
Yeah,
Sunday I started doing. I got the solos, sub solos.
that's
So,
awesome.
but again, Mrs. Martis didn't get to live the lifestyle my kids had.
Yeah,
Great, she's a great teacher. She changed my life, and it's not always about money, is it? It's about
no, that's true. That's
that
true.
she loved what she did, obviously, because she that just was ooze, like you were consumed by her love of music. So find
Yeah,
something you love, right? Right? Find something that supports the income you want, right? Make sure you do something that's unique so no one can, uh, you know, like for instance, um, I've written 26 books on success, right? So that's what I've done. So why? Because I'm an expert at sales, leadership, meetings, goal setting, time
yeah,
management, all these things, right? And so I've written those books, but I didn't start that way. I started with mentors like Mr. Murphy that meant send me to see all these wonderful people like Zig and Tom and Jim and Brian and
yeah,
Bob Proctor, and all these guys. So they changed my life. So it's really important that you guys, number one, find something you love. Number two, make sure it supports the lifestyle you want.
yeah,
And number three, that it's something that you're unique. What makes you so special, right? It's like if you hear different singers, and I love music, I studied
yeah,
opera, I'm a lyric tenor, and I have records actually myself.
yeah. No,
If you
Grammy.
hear if you hear singers, the most unique voices are the ones that stay around, right? Besides the ones that write great music or have great
Of course, yeah.
music written for them. But the
Yeah.
most unique voices are the ones that excel. Like you think of Andre Bocelli or
Mm,
Pavarotti or Jose, all these great things, Placido
yeah.
Domingo.
Yeah.
Um, these guys, they all have a unique sound. If you listen to people like Drake or any of those, The Weekend, uh,
Yeah.
a lot of they have a great voice.
Hmm.
So, but it's a unique voice. So, what makes you unique in business? It's the same thing. You got to be very unique, and you've got to stand out where most people don't. So, for instance, for me, you got to stand out and be different than everybody else.
Yeah.
Don't try to be like everybody else. Sure, you model. We all model. Tony Robbins talks about modeling.
Yeah.
Modeling is taking other things from other people and making them yourself, but make
Hmm.
sure that you put your own spice, your own personality, your own little twist on it.
And something, I mean, that's awesome, Omar. And as you model, you mimic and you master. So you model, you mimic it, and you master it. We all develop our own style after we start doing, after we get comfortable with what we're doing, how we're doing, and what we're saying. But you always got to start somewhere. But one of the main things that I tell everybody is don't quit. Because a lot of people, yeah, you love what you're doing, but when you don't see results right away, they just end up quitting. And you
Right.
never know. I mean, I know you've seen a lot of those memes where you see two people excavating and looking for gold, and one of them is like close enough, just one peek away from actually finding all this gold, and they just quit. That's what happened with a lot of people today.
Well, what happens is, like you've heard that story, and again, I'm not going to go word for word because I don't remember
Yeah,
it, but I do
yeah,
remember the story that I used to use in my leadership books, and the story was that there was a captain of a ship or general, and
yeah,
he when he got on the island, everybody got off, and he turned to his they were going up over against an enemy that had thousands and thousands of people, and they only had a couple hundred, and so he turned to the couple hundred. He said, "Burn the ships, burn the ships." And they go, "Well, how are we going to get off?" He says, "The only way we're going to get off is by winning the war and taking their ships." So most people don't know how close you are before you quit. So burn the bridges, burn the ships, burn whatever it is behind you, and move forward. The past is nothing but a bucket of ashes, right?
yeah.
Carlos, if you and I were going camping and I said, "Hey," you said, "Hey, Omar, you're responsible for the campfires." And I said, "Okay." And I have to bring the firewood. And I showed up and everybody's ready to eat and start to make some coffee. And I walk in with 2 buckets of ashes. What would you say? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
That- That's the past. Most
Yeah,
people are walking around with 2 buckets of ashes.
that's
Get
amazing.
rid of those buckets of ashes. Work on the present and the future. The past is gone. Let it go. We all make mistakes. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. There's no one that's perfect.
Yeah.
We all mess up. And don't beat yourself up.
Hmm.
I do it. I still have to work on it. I told you I've
Yeah,
never had a total positive day. I
yeah.
still have to work on it. We all make mistakes and we have regrets. But you know what? We're human. And that's why we're here to experience and get better. The whole thing is to learn from your mistakes.
So I'm amazed that you actually brought that story, that small snippet story. So Captain and Hernan Cortez. So let me show you something. I want to share with everybody else too. Oh, let's put it this way. So you see this tattoo over here?
Yeah.
So this tattoo was made because of the same concept. Being in the military, my background and everything, could have gone into law enforcement. That was my golden handcuff. That's what I call it. Just like Captain Hernan Cortez said to all his men, 600 of them in 1519, and said to them, burn all the ships because there's no turning back. You are not going back. We win this battle or we all die here. That's why they colonized the place. That's why they were able to win the battle. And this is what we need to do. Don't burn all your ships today. Make sure that you have no turning back. Make sure that anything that you are doing today, if what you want to do is in front of you, make sure that there's no other way for you to escape it, and you'll see that you end up successful at it. And that's what we're here today. That's
Yeah.
what we created this company, because I said there's no turning back for me, and I wanted to. Like, one of my dreams was, after the military, is to go into law enforcement, and I was called upon different agencies, and even till today I even get called. But that's something that I have to make the decision to leave everything behind and move forward with my dream. And
Right.
again, like you said earlier, a man without a dream, I mean, a man without a plan is just a dreamer, right? It's
Well,
unemployed.
yeah. Well, and
So,
it's important you realize, Jim Rohn I used to have the
yeah,
pleasure of sitting at Mr. Murphy's house over the weekends with Jim Rohn because they were best friends. And he would always say, uh, take every month, and he did the same thing, just so you know, he did everything he taught. He was amazing. And he said, every month, take every week, take a couple hours to reflect on what you did that week. Every
got it.
month, take a night and reflect on what you did and tweak it. Every year, take a weekend and reflect on what you want to do. And that's what I'm telling everybody, reflect now. He said something really important to me when I was 19 and a half years old, because I wanted to be a singer. And I wasn't real clear of what I wanted because I studied opera, and
Yeah,
but I wanted to sing. And he said, "Well, what do you really love?" I said, "Well, I love to sing pop music." He says, "Well," he said, "then you need to make that change." So I did, and that's how I ended up doing records and winning the equivalency of the Grammy in Latin America
yeah.
for two
Wow.
years in a row. And but he said that if the promise is clear, the price is well worth it. So the promise has to be very clear. He says
Yeah,
the clearer the picture, the easier it is to get to it. And Mr. Murphy would always tell me, you know, the more vivid the picture of your goal is, the more clear the picture of your goal is, the more that the promise is clear, the brighter, the sooner, the faster you're going to get there.
wow. Man, this has been amazing. I love talking to you. I know that our audience also do. Hey, I appreciate this week, because next week is the last week of the year, right? We're gonna be talking
Yep.
about the top three things that you must do, that you need to do. Three things in order for you to be successful in 2023.
And it's important that you take advantage of all the different things that are going out there,
Yeah.
like your business,
Hmm.
cleaning up your credit and getting
Oh yeah.
Yeah, getting you need money to make your if you want to open up that business January 1st. Of the thousands of businesses that open up
Correct.
January 1st, 95% of them were closed. The number one reason, lack of funding.
Lack of
Number
funding.
two,
Yeah.
if you need mentoring and coaching, reach out to me. Just go to
Hmm.
info at omarperiu.com. That's info at omarperiu.com, or go to omarperiu at gmail.com, and I'll have my
Yeah.
assistant send you some stuff. Also, you were going to talk to him about that new program that we were discussing.
So yeah, so we have a new program that we're gonna go more in depth next week, but it's called the ERC. The ERC is the Employee Retention Credit. Employee Retention Credit is actually a government grant that is specifically driven for small businesses, any type of business. But in this case, we are helping small businesses, because this is a grant that, if you were affected by COVID and by all the mandates that the government had, in this case, you are able to get a sum per W-2 employee between $10,000 to $26,000. So it's a great. I mean, if you guys are interested in this, it's something that we're helping businesses owners um, doing the paperwork, and is everything is on us. There's no risk to you. There's no upfront charges. We make sure that we go out to battle, and we make sure that we help you get that money if you qualify. So, but that one we're gonna go more in depth next week.
How do they get a hold of you for that?
So one of the main things we're gonna do is, at the end of this video, in the bottom of the video, you're gonna have the specific link that, if you are interested in trying to find out more, then you could schedule. You could actually find out if you qualify, and we could go and we could help you out. We could give you a call and schedule another meeting with you and go into further more details to see if your business qualified today. But keep in mind that there's only about 813 days left for this service. But as we all know that with the government, pretty much first come, first serve. We don't know how much or how long this service or this program is going to be around. So if you are a business that is interested, we could definitely help you out. So in the bottom of the video, you'll see a link, and make sure that you click in there, find out more information. And if you want to know more about it, we could definitely schedule a time and day to work with you so we could get you the money that you deserve.
And then remember to enjoy the holidays, guys,
Yes.
and happy holidays. And really, take time for yourself to have fun, be creative, be with your kids and family and all that good stuff. And until next time, are you ready to say goodnight or
Oh man, yes, yes. No, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Omar. Thank you for being here with
thank
me
you?
today. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and everybody else. Look, if you have any questions, if you want to work with Omar, I tell you what, when we talked about, and I'm gonna take a couple more seconds on that. When we
No,
talked
I'm not in a
about
rush.
always having a mentor, this gentleman right here has been one of my mentors for years. Like even before I met him, I was always digging into his books, his audios. Back then was cassette and CDs. That's
Right.
where. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I know, and just to meet your idol and to meet one of your heroes and finding out that this guy's even more than what you actually heard on CD was even amazing. So that's I attest to what you can get becoming a mentee from Omar Peru and his team, because they could take you from where you are today to success. So don't hesitate. Make
Thank
sure
you.
Omar
Thank you,
Peru at
Carlos.
gmail.com. You go to omarperu.com, omarperuinternational.com too, right?
Yeah, you can go to, but the easiest way is just go to info@omarperu.com or go to omarperu, OMARPERU at gmail.com and say, hey, I want to find out about being a mentee. That's it.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, guys, thank you for everything. Thank you for tuning